servant to our every whim.
Tesla turns on the power. A low hum emits from the transformers and the Tesla coil sparks impressively. The audience gasps.
You will witness the scale on the gauge. We now have 100,000 volts of alternating current being produced, much more than the voltage that killed the convict William Kemmler. Much more than the voltage that Edison has employed to kill family pets. I now approach the free terminal.
Voice in the audience screams,
No!
Tesla smiles devilishly, grabs hold of the terminal. His body lights up with the electricity as hundreds of streamers shoot from every part of his body. People gasp, scream, a man in the front row faints, and the audience verges on panic.
Look! The same current employed by George Westinghouse. I have not been Westinghoused!
Animation. The style is of a black and white political cartoon circa the early 1890s. J.P. Morgan as an octopus. His tentacles are wrapped around his various holdings, objects with various company names. His two front tentacles hold a fish with Edison's face and a building labeled Thompson, Houston Electric. These tentacles prepare to toss them both into an open treasure chest labeled General Electric. Another fish has a face like Westinghouse, lucky enough not to have been grabbed by the octopus, but frightened nonetheless. Interior Westinghouse Company, boardroom day. Westinghouse faces his board of directors and bankers' representatives, notably a nebbish man named Hurley.
What are they offering, Mr. Hurley?
$16 million in stock, $6 million of that preferred shares.
I will not be absorbed by the House of Morgan. Edison may allow himself to be Morganized, but not I, Mr. Hurley, not I.
Sir, our bankers all agree that the General Electric Company will surely wipe us out if we continue our present rate of expenditure. It is our considered opinion that we must restructure the financing of certain projects.
Oh? And what might those projects be?
Yes, well, one deal of particular note is the matter of royalties paid to the Tesla electrical company.
Right, the big project. You're talking about our ace in the hole. The development of Mr. Tesla's system is precisely why we'll beat General Electric.
We're not disputing that, sir. It's the matter of the royalty payments.
Horse balls! Royalties are sacrosanct, Mr. Hurley. All inventors are entitled to a royalty on their investments. If I hadn't received royalties on my air brakes, do you think I'd be here today? Or you, for that matter?
Yes, sir, but our projections indicate that $2.50 per horsepower on all powerhouse equipment, plus on motors on every application of the alternating current system, it'll bankrupt us in short order. We estimate we'll owe the Tesla company another $4 million by the time the Chicago World's Fair opens. If our promotion there is successful, which I'm sure is our utmost desire, that figure will, of course, begin to compound, effectively canceling out any benefit we may hope to gain from the venture.
God damn.
I'm sorry, sir. Our bankers insist that the figure of $1 million we have already paid Mr. Tesla is more than adequate compensation. We propose that the terms of the Tesla contract be renegotiated.
Westinghouse sighs, dreading what must come next. Tesla's lab day. Westinghouse and Tesla strolls through the lab.
Mr. Tesla, your decision determines the fate of the Westinghouse Company.
Suppose I should refuse to give up my contract, then what would you do then?
In that event, you'd have to deal with the bankers. I'd no longer have any power of the situation.
And if I give up the contract, you will save your company. Would you retain control?
Yes.
You would proceed with your plans to give my polyphase system to the world?
Mr. Tesla, I believe your system is the greatest discovery in history. We can't stop progress now.
Westinghouse lets it all sink in. Tesla leads Westinghouse into the office.
Mr. Westinghouse, you have been upfront and honest with me. You believed in me when others had no faith, and you have stood by me as a friend.
Tesla walks to a filing cabinet and quickly finds the file.
Here's my contract.
Tesla tears up the contract and throws it in the wastebasket.
I'll make my fortune on other discoveries. I have no shortage of them, it seems.
Thank you, Mr. Tesla. Bless you.
Tesla basks in the deliciousness of his situation, his generosity to a begging millionaire.
In retrospect, all right, it wasn't my wisest business decision I could have made. Fair enough. Perhaps if I was a man of regrets, that moment would live at the top of my list.
J.J. Slater's men's store day. Tesla admires himself in the mirror. He wears a smart black Prince Edward cutaway with spats. Taylor hands him a bowler hat and lion's head walking stick.
Ha! But what can we foretell when our egos have been sated and our coffers are burgeoning? My destiny was unfolding as it should.
The tailor brings him a selection of cufflinks. Tesla waves them off in disgust. Barbershop day. The barber wears white gloves and he styles Tesla's hair, while his manicurist and shoeshine boy, also in white gloves, busy themselves at his feet and hands.
I began to frequent all the fashionable establishments.
There's omitted scenes here. Tesla enters high society. He schmoozes with New York's upper crust at the Players Club and dines in style at Delmonico's, exhibiting hilariously eccentric eating habits and a macabre preference for roast squid. He's become the talk of the town and Manhattan's most eligible bachelor. Journalists interview Tesla and he predicts great and wondrous technological developments, citing his own experiments with the wireless. Exterior Johnson home, Lexington Avenue night. Arc lights sparkle in the frosty air as a hansom cab deposits Tesla at the front steps of a fashionable brownstone townhouse, bedecked with Christmas decorations.
A book was published that documented my accomplishments to date. A reception party was thus held at the home of my future best friends, Robert Underwood Johnson and his incomparable and divine wife.
Insert book. Titled The Inventions, Researches, and Writings of Nikola Tesla. The open book is snapped shut. Katharine Johnson, 30 years old, smart, passionate, beautiful. A proverbial society butterfly.
Oh, Mr. Tesla. How very impressive.
Katharine looks deep into Tesla's eyes. Tesla is unnerved by her penetrating gaze, but instantly charmed by her sincerity. Oblivious to those subtle glances is her husband, Robert Underwood Johnson, early 40s, bespectacled, graying beard, and always smiling.
Yes, my wife and I have read the advances, and I must say, Mr. Tesla, you were truly bound to be the man of the next century.
Mostly men, mostly illustrious.
Like the moniker on your illuminating magazine, Century.
Now that you bring it up, we are quite interested in doing a series of articles on you. Perhaps you could contribute a word or two?
Yes, Mr. Tesla. The output of your prodigious mind has kept us all enthralled. We'd love to hear more of your fascinating prognostications of the future.
A 50-something Mark Twain joins the circle.
Predictions, you say? Just don't go predicting our demises. No doubt they're mostly dreary affairs and devoid of any humor.
Mark, you made it.
Is this the man I've been hearing so much about?
Mark, this is Nikola Tesla. Mr. Tesla, Mark Twain.
Tesla gasps, quickly recovers, and heartily shakes gloved hands with Mark Twain.
My God, I loved Innocents Abroad, Mr. Twain.
Clemens! Samuel Clemens, as my mother likes to call me, or raving lunatic, as my wife Livy is apt to say. In any event, some of my pals have a preference for the nom de plume. Mr. Tesla, you can call me whatever you like. Now, back to your predictions. Will you invent a device to detect an honest politician?
First they have to invent the honest politician.
Everyone laughs. Tesla is in. Interior parlor later. Ever the diligent hostess, Katharine floats from group to group, pausing outside a large circle that includes Tesla, Mark Twain, Rudyard Kipling, and architect Stanford White. She watches Tesla, charmed by his passion.
Do tell us, Mr. Tesla, what are you working on now?
I'm investigating the myriad wonderful facets of the light spectrum. I envision ways to utilize wireless energy for communication, even for transmitting power. Ways to photograph the skeleton of the living body, particle beams. Ways of charging the atmosphere to light the sky at night, to control complete weather systems.
How very prolific.
Mr. Kipling, so many ideas go racing through an inventor's brain that he can only seize a few of them as they fly. And of these, he can only find the time and strength to bring out a few to perfection. Thus, I sleep on average 2 hours a day.
My God, that's insanity.
You're overworked, Mr. Tesla. Perhaps you should take a holiday.
Alas, impossible, I'm afraid. My every waking moment is consumed with the delight I derive from my experiments. A holiday would only frustrate me, for it would take me away from my laboratory.
I should dearly love to see your laboratory sometime, Mr. Tesla. What a world of wonders it must be.
Dear lady, I'd love to show you. In fact, I'd love to show you all.
When?
When?
How about right now?
Now?
Katharine, please.
Forgive me, Mr. Tesla. I merely mean it would be so difficult to arrange a time when we're all available.
Katharine.
But we're all available now. And I think I speak for all of us when I say we intensely desire to accept your gracious invitation.
Well, then why not?
Tesla's laboratory, night. A conspicuous parade of carriages and cabs rolls up to Tesla's building, and excited, tipsy guests spill out. Tesla leads them inside. Interior Tesla's laboratory, night. The room is alive with electricity, like an early sci-fi wet dream. Two large brass globes hung from the ceiling, emitting streamers that arc spasmodically but harmlessly. Antennae throughout the room bristle. Tubes of colored light are set aglow. Motors and whirligigs spin and hum. The guests watch, enthralled, as Tesla picks up a light tube in each hand. They begin to glow brightly, a soft, fluorescent light. Tesla swings them around like lightsabers, then offers one to Katharine, beckons her to stand in the electrical field. She hesitates, then steps up. Her tube promptly glows. She's completely enchanted. Tesla's lab, day. Tesla is alone at his workbench when there is a knock at the door. Tesla answers it. Standing there, a large bouquet of flowers with legs, the delivery man.
Are you Mr. Nikola Tesla?
Yes?
These flowers are for you.
For me, from
Mrs. Katharine Johnson, sir.
The delivery man peeks from behind the flowers and shoots Tesla an accusing look.
Mrs.
Tesla takes the flowers, tips the man, and shuts the door.
Thank you.
Tesla sets the bouquet on a nearby table. He finds a card within and begins to read.
My dear Mr. Tesla, thank you for your company and your wonderful demonstration of last night. I pray your visits shall become ever more frequent. Sincerely, Katharine Johnson.
Tesla is touched and bewildered. Exterior office building, day. A sign adorns the entrance, Century Magazine. Interior, Robert's office, day. Tesla stands in the doorway holding the flowers. Robert stands at his desk, amused.
Yes, well, that's Katharine for you. You must forgive her for being so forward, but may I echo her sentiments and say that we'd both like to see you on a more regular basis?
Perhaps I am unfamiliar with American customs. In my country, a gift of flowers from a woman to a man is an indication of her romantic interest.
Yes, but Kate is determined to be the most gracious and generous hostess in New York. She's an enthusiast, shall we say. And yes, she was quite taken with you. In fact, everyone last night was rather smitten. Sit.
Your wife is truly a lovely creature.
Yes, I adore Mr. Tesla with all my heart.
You are supremely blessed, my friend.
Sometimes I fear I'm too dull for her. Hence, I keep her entertained by bringing home some of my more interesting friends. And of course, you are now foremost among those numbers.
You are not dull, Mr. Johnson.
Oh, my dear Mr. Tesla, you're more than kind.
Now there's a scene omitted. Tesla has dinner with the Johnsons, including their two children, Owen and Agnes. Tesla affectionately nicknames Robert and Katharine after a Serbian poem, Luka Filipov. Katharine pries into Tesla's personal life, and he reveals his brother Dane mysteriously died when he was a child. Tesla imparts his take on marriage, not for him. He is a singularly passionate man who must choose between women and work. It all makes Katharine long for him even more. Exterior of the Grand Music Entertainment Hall, St. Louis, day. The street is jam-packed with people clamoring for tickets to the show, Nikola Tesla, lecture and demonstration.
We are whirling through endless space at an inconceivable speed.
Interior hall, day. The hall seats 4,000 and it's packed beyond capacity. On stage, Tesla is surrounded by his devices. Cito assists.
All around us, everything is spinning. Everything is moving. Everywhere is energy. There are ways of availing ourselves of this energy, ways that nature intended for us to discover. The mere contemplation of these magnificent possibilities expands our minds, strengthens and hopes, and fills our hearts with supreme delight.
Wait a minute. I've lost the time frame. So When exactly was this demonstration?
Interior courtroom, 1915 day. The elder Tesla is on the witness stand. His lawyer, Lemuel Quigg, questions him.
February 28, 1893. A full 4 years before Mr. Marconi's first patent.
Objection.
When he was still a callow teen in Tuscany.
Your Honor.
Marconi shoots Tesla a dirty look.
Mr. Tesla, you will refrain from any direct reference to Mr. Marconi.
Mr. Tesla, this demonstration was in St. Louis?
Yes, in the grand music entertainment hall.
Please continue, Mr. Tesla.
Interior hall continuing. Tesla steps forward.
It is my pleasure to present to you today a system of wireless transmission in which I have expanded upon a principle of Heinrich Hertz.
Tesla walks over to the left side of the stage to his primitive transmitter apparatus.
This is the transmitting apparatus. Over there is the receiving device.
At the opposite side of the stage, an identical wire hangs from the ceiling to a similar-looking apparatus.
Each consists of an aerial wire, a ground connection, an aerial ground circuit containing inductance and capacity, which is adjustable. This enables each device to be assigned its own frequency, much like a private line to each other.
The audience is unimpressed, almost bored.
I will now apply the current to send the signal.
Tesla throws a switch. The transformer grunts and groans, a corona sizzles around the foil edges of the transmitter jars, and a spark gap crackles. In the receiver apparatus, a small vacuum tube lights up. Tesla proudly turns to them, expecting applause. None comes. The few journalists show mild curiosity and jot in their notepads.
Any questions?
How do you take all that voltage through your body?
The crowd comes alive at this. This is what they paid to see. Tesla senses it.
It is quite simple. The frequency is very high, so the current traverses the skin rather than going through the body. Shall I show you?
The crowd.
All very well then.
Tesla approaches his powerful coil and turns it on. Electric Man! Shooting sparks from every pore in his body, he splays his fingers towards the crowd. Lightning bolts shoot out toward the front rows. They recoil, screaming. There's an omitted scene. Tesla attends a party at the Johnson home. Tesla opines his unconventional views of God and humans to Mark Twain. Meanwhile, a group of single women begs Katharine for an introduction to the suave and charming inventor, but she assures them that he has no romantic inclinations. The women speculate that Katharine may be keeping him all for herself. But Tesla's eye has been caught by Marguerite Merrington, an actress-musician he'd previously seen on stage in Hamlet. She is playing Chopin on the piano for the guests. Interior Johnson home, parlor, later. Marguerite finishes the short piece, I guess by Chopin. Tesla and surrounding guests applaud. She rises from the piano to be quickly replaced by another hobby musician. Tesla approaches in full charm mode.
Miss Merrington, you certainly have a way with Chopin.
Well, I am flattered. Coming from you, Mr. Tesla.
Nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins, remember.
Good, my lord. How does your honor for this many a day?
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners?
Perhaps it's their words of such sweet breath composed.
Tesla and Marguerite laugh heartily at their own repartee. A connection has been made. Katharine sidles up to the gang, also watching Tesla with keen interest.
A most intrepid woman. A Gibson girl, no doubt. But I can safely bet our dear inventor is completely invulnerable to Cupid's shafts.
Who's Mr. White?
White?
We got White?
Mr. White?
Maybe White. Yes, but that's Marguerite Harrington. Her charms are notorious, believe me.
Kipling.
I say there receiver signals.
I bet he remains oblivious.
$20.
Oh, you men are cruel. You don't know him at all.
I have nothing to do with it, darling.
Katharine leaves the group and leaves them to nudge each other and wink. Tesla pours a glass of punch for Marguerite.
Forgive me, Miss Merrington. I couldn't help but notice. All the ladies choose to adorn themselves with jewelry, yet you do not.
Why, Mr. Tesla, it's not a matter of choice with me. But if I had enough money to load myself with diamonds, I could think of better ways of spending it.
I couldn't agree more. The wearing of jewelry is a nauseating custom, especially pearls.
A pretty young woman flits by giving Tesla the eye, but she is laden with pearls and Tesla suddenly feels sick.
They literally affect you. What is it about pearls that bothers you so much?
Perhaps too much empathy?
Empathy, Mr. Tesla?
It's silly, I know, but whenever I see pearls, I feel the years of torture.
I don't understand.
A simple mollusk at the bottom of the sea is invaded by a tiny pebble. The poor creature cannot discharge the object. Therefore, the stone's jagged edges irritate its tender insides for years on end. Its only defense is to secrete its nacre over the object gradually, constantly, until after years of agony, the edges are rounded enough to be tolerable. At this point, they are ripped open and killed for their so-called precious irritants. These are then fashioned to dangle from humans in an effort to beautify.
Marguerite is speechless. Tesla checks himself and goes back into charm mode.
When truly